We all want healthy meals as quickly as possible, but we also want variety. So that's actually how I started batch prepping. I was tired of cooking every single day, and I just wanted prepped and ready to go ingredients that I could use throughout the week. So let's get started on this batch prep, and I'll show you exactly how this formula works. Let's talk about this secret formula. In order to have a successful batch prep, you need to choose a variety of items to prep. For me personally, that is usually 1 bean, 1 grain, and a lot of veggies. Something I also often recommend for people just starting out is to also prep a sauce and or an item that is completely ready to eat as soon as the batch prep is done. So those are the 5 elements I'm going to be showing you today: a bean, legume, or other protein, a grain, veggies, a sauce, and a prepped and ready to eat item. But first things first, let's preheat the oven to 400 degrees and get our veggies washed. I like to wash my sweet potatoes separately because they're usually a little bit dirtier, and these basically only need a quick rinse before going into the oven since I don't plan on eating the skins. Now, if you've watched my videos before, you know that we need to get whatever takes the longest cooking first. So that is gonna be our baked items, which today is the sweet potatoes and some bell peppers. And then we also wanna get something started in the Instant Pot. Today we are gonna cook some grain. We're gonna cook this millet. So we're just gonna go ahead and get that rinsed and into the Instant Pot as well. I'm using 2 cups millet here, and I'm just gonna add in 4 cups of clean water after giving this a quick rinse. And then this will cook on high pressure for 10 minutes. Occasionally, I like to do 1 recipe so that by the time the batch prep is finished, we will have something to eat. So for today, that's going to be these lentils. Now, usually I do a plain bean in the Instant Pot, but we are switching it up today, and we're gonna cook these lentils with some spices on the stovetop. So we're gonna chop up an onion, get these started on the stovetop, and then finish chopping the rest of our veggies. So to our onion, garlic, lentils, and water mixture, I'm just adding some veggie broth paste, garam masala, turmeric, Indian chili powder, and some tomato paste I had in the freezer. And it's been about 15 or 20 minutes so far, so let's just rotate these bell peppers real quick. So it's totally up to you which veggies you want to keep raw and which you want to cook. I kind of like to do a combination. It also depends on what season it is. Like, since it's summer right now, I'm craving a lot more fresh raw veggies. So I definitely want to keep some of those raw for salads and things like that. But it's also nice to have some of the veggies cooked, especially ones that we typically eat cooked, because it's great to just open the fridge and have those ready to eat. Meanwhile, I'm also wondering if I can regrow this lettuce, like if I just peel off some of the leaves and then pop it into some water. You can see the roots here. I don't know, let me know in the comments if you think that'll work. After about 40 minutes total in the oven, the bell peppers are ready to take out, and we're just gonna let them steam by covering them, and that'll make it easier for us to remove the skins later. And a couple of the sweet potatoes were done as well. You'll know they're done if they are soft when you pinch them. And then I just popped the others back into the oven for another 10 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm just getting a steamer ready for our broccoli and zucchini. Most of these broccolis are pretty nicely sized already, but I'm just going through it and chopping any other pieces that need to be made a little bit smaller. And then for our zucchini, we're just simply cutting them into half moons. Once the broccoli are finished steaming, which is only about 5 or so minutes, I'm just gonna take them out and swap them for the zucchini. And the last thing to wash is our cilantro, so let's just give that a quick rinse. And then the squash steams really quickly, so that is already done as well. Now our lentils have just been cooking away by themselves. They're almost fully cooked, but I'm just adding a little bit of soy milk to add some creaminess to this mixture. And now just removing any excess water from our greens. My salad spinner is really not the best, so I do like to use a tea towel as well. And then I just store the greens directly in the tea towel because I find it keeps them really fresh that way. So our lettuce and kale will go together in a Tupperware, and then our chard in one tea towel, and the cilantro in another tea towel. And these other bundles can be stored in another Tupperware or just in a Ziploc bag is fine. Now we finished with the sweet potatoes and bell peppers in the oven, but since the oven is still hot, I'm just gonna throw in a very quick batch of baked tofu. Now, of course, if you don't wanna turn your oven on during the summer, I totally get that. You definitely don't have to roast veggies in the oven, and even the tofu you could just do on the stovetop. However, when I do a batch prep, I just like to take advantage of all cooking areas possible because it does save you a lot of time. So even though it is a little bit hot in here, I would rather just get the batch prep done faster. So for our quick tofu sauce, we just need some apple cider vinegar, tamari, a chica seasoning, or you can sub with paprika, some mushroom seasoning, chili powder, and garlic powder. Oh, and I did a splash of water in there as well. And then of course, just a little bit of cornstarch to help them crisp up in the oven. And lastly, while that tofu is baking, I wanna show you my favorite all-purpose sauce. It is super easy, only 2 ingredients, and one of those ingredients is water. And it is so versatile. We're just gonna make the base today and then use it in different ways throughout the week. So let's make some cashew cream. I'm just using 1 cup of raw cashews here, and then completely cover them with boiling water for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then once they are softened, we're just gonna add them all to our blender cup with 1.5 cups of water and blend until completely smooth. Now it may look a little bit liquidy here, but that is fine. It will thicken up in the fridge, or if you do want a thicker texture, just use 1 cup of water instead when blending. And then lastly, for these roasted bell peppers, I'm just taking off the skin and removing the seeds. Of course, we don't want to eat the stems or seeds, but even the skin gets really bitter after roasting them. So you just want to remove all the skins and just keep the fleshy parts. So as you can see, a batch prep can actually be done quite quickly. Basically, all we're doing is washing and chopping some veggies and then cooking a couple items as well. And this is really gonna help us out so much throughout the week. In fact, let me show you guys exactly how I'm going to turn all of this into meals. Starting with the lentils, all we need to do is combine it with some millet and some of our veggies, and we have a perfect little nourishing bowl ready to go. Of course, we need some of our freshly washed cilantro, and then just a squeeze of half a lemon here, along with some black garlic and our cashew cream sauce. For breakfast the next morning, I decided to have some of our prepped millet with some fruit. So I'm just defrosting some raspberries and blueberries first, and then heating up the millet. We also have an abundance of fresh fruit, so I chopped up a peach and a mango to add on there as well. Once the millet was hot, I just added some ground flax, some vanilla powder, soy milk, and the fruit. It's lunchtime and I'm craving some tacos right now. I feel like tacos have got to be one of the most versatile meals because you can use so many different things for the filling. Since we have this already baked tofu and some veggies, we're just gonna mix those together and heat those up for the filling. Now, pro tip, if you do need to cut something or prep something midweek, you might as well do the whole thing and save the leftovers to be used later in the week. So that's what I'm doing with this red onion. I also do it if I cook pasta. I just make the whole entire bag instead of just 1 or 2 servings at a time. And let's not forget our cashew cream here. We're just gonna mix it with a little bit of hot sauce, and that gives it this delicious, spicy, creamy flavor. You of course can add in other seasonings to it if you wish, but honestly, just these two together is already so delicious. So for the next dinner, I was feeling really lazy, and my go-to lazy meal is always pasta because there's something about the ease of just opening a jar of ready-made sauce. But this is where the magic of having already cooked vegetables really shines, because we are going to transform this meal into a super healthy veggie-packed pasta dish with almost zero extra effort. Lately, I've been cooking my pasta in the Instant Pot because it is just so much easier when it's hands-off. You don't have to wait for the water to boil. You can just put all your ingredients in, press a button, and just forget about it, really. And then for the sauce, all we're going to do is heat it on the stove top. I'm just gonna add in some of this chard. It will cook down basically the same as spinach does as the sauce is heating. We're also gonna add some cashew cream in there for a little extra creaminess and just a little variation on red sauce. And then once the sauce is hot, we're gonna add in all of the other cooked veggies, our broccoli, zucchini, and roasted bell peppers. So this is another thing that I wanna share with you guys about batch prepping. It's not about having everything completely finished on the day that you prep. You definitely still will be doing some cooking throughout the week, but like for me, I really don't enjoy prepping or cooking vegetables. So if I have them already done, I'm much more likely to eat them. And in a dish like this, where otherwise it would just be pasta and sauce, now we have a bunch of healthy veggies in there. Now with our Instant Pot done, we're just going to slowly release the steam in short bursts. I basically just release the steam until I see it's starting to get frothy around the pin, and then I close the valve off, wait a few minutes, and then open the valve again. And be careful here because it's really hot, and especially when you pour out the water, even just the steam can burn your hands. So I usually wear oven mitts when I do this. One of my other favorite lunches to make with prepped items is a salad. Of course, we have our lettuce and kale already washed, so I'm just giving that a quick chop with some of the raw bell pepper and cucumber that we prepared. And then just adding on some of our baked tofu and prepped pasta, or you could also use the millet here if you prefer, some of our prepped red onion, and then of course some of our cashew cream for a dressing. Now to jazz it up, I'm adding some apple cider vinegar, dried parsley, dried dill, garlic powder, onion powder, and salt. And this is gonna make it a ranch style dressing, which is so delicious and perfect for this salad. And not only perfect for this salad, but I usually make a large enough batch to have leftovers, and that way I can eat it with my snack veggies as well. And what is a batch prep if we don't have dessert? This is one of my favorite ways to use up sweet potatoes. All we need to add is some soy milk, cocoa powder, maple syrup, vanilla, and salt. And this will make a delicious chocolate mixture that can either be eaten as a pudding or fudgesicles or even as ice cream. So I will link this full video right here on the screen. If you haven't seen this one yet, you've got to check it out.